The sun was burning hot above Mary as she walked slowly along the streets of the rich neighborhood, holding a heavy plastic bag full of oranges. She was only 9 years old, but she walked with the weight of someone much older. Her feet hurt from hours of walking, and her stomach had been empty since morning. She didn't complain. Every step she took was for her mother, who lay sick at home, unable to work and needing medicine they couldn't afford. Selling oranges was all Mary could do. She went from house to house, knocking on big gates, hoping someone would buy something. Most people ignored her. A few said no and closed their doors without a second glance. She didn't give up. Her mother had always told her to stay strong and never stop trying. Then she saw the biggest gate she'd ever seen. Behind it stood a huge mansion with white walls and tall windows, surrounded by beautiful flowers and trees. She stood still, staring for a moment. The house looked like a palace from a storybook. But there was something sad about it, too. It was too quiet, like nobody really lived there. Mary took a deep breath and walked to the gate. She pressed the small button on the wall. Seconds passed. Mary thought maybe no one was home. Then she heard a crackling sound from the speaker. "Who is it?" a deep voice asked. Mary cleared her throat. Hello, sir. My name is Mary. I'm selling oranges. Would you like to buy some? They're very fresh and sweet." There was a long silence. Mary waited, her heart beating fast. She was about to walk away when the voice spoke again. "How much?" Mary's face brightened with hope. "5 oranges for $2, sir, or 10 for $3. It's a really good price." Another pause. Then the voice said, "Wait there." Mary waited by the gate, shifting the heavy bag from one hand to the other. Her arms were tired, and her throat was dry. She hadn't had water in hours, but if this man bought her oranges, she could buy her mother's medicine today. That thought kept her standing strong. After what felt like forever, she heard footsteps coming closer. The gate buzzed loudly and slowly swung open. A tall man stood in front of her. He wore expensive clothes, a clean white shirt and perfectly ironed black pants. His shoes were shiny, and his watch looked like it cost more than Mary's whole house. His face was handsome but tired, with sad eyes that seemed to carry heavy thoughts. His hair had a little bit of gray in it, even though he didn't look very old. This was Marcus, though Mary didn't know his name yet. He looked down at the little girl with her worn school uniform and dirty shoes. For a moment, something strange flickered in his eyes. Maybe surprise, maybe confusion. "Come in," he said quietly. Mary hesitated. Her mother had always warned her never to go into strangers' houses, but the man didn't look dangerous. He looked lonely and very, very sad. "It's okay," Marcus said, seeing the worry on her face. "I'll buy all your oranges. You can stand right here by the gate if you're scared." "All of them?" Mary's eyes went wide with shock. She had 20 oranges in her bag. That would be $6. That was more money than she usually made in 3 whole days. "Yes, all of them." Marcus pulled out his wallet from his pocket, but then he stopped and looked at her more carefully. "When did you last eat?" Mary's stomach growled loudly, answering for her. She felt her cheeks burn hot with embarrassment and looked down at her feet. Marcus's tired face softened. "Come inside. Let me get you something to eat first. Then I'll pay you for the oranges." Mary knew she shouldn't go in, but she was so hungry it hurt, and the man's voice was gentle, even though his eyes looked sad. She nodded slowly and followed him through the gate. The garden was even more beautiful up close. Red roses, white lilies, and purple flowers she didn't know the names of grew everywhere. A smooth stone path led to the front door of the mansion. Everything looked perfect, like a picture in a magazine. But it also felt empty, like a garden with no children playing in it. Marcus opened the big front door, and Mary stepped inside. She gasped out loud. The mansion was enormous. The ceiling was so high she had to tilt her head all the way back to see it. Everything was shiny and clean. Marble floors, crystal lights hanging from the ceiling, soft furniture that looked like nobody ever sat on it. Big paintings in gold frames hung on the walls. But the house felt cold. Not cold like ice, but cold like loneliness. There were no sounds of cooking, no voices, no laughter, no music. Just silence that made Mary feel a little bit scared. Wait here, Marcus said, pointing to a chair near the entrance. I'll bring you some food. Mary sat down very carefully, afraid she might make the expensive chair dirty with her old uniform. Her eyes moved around the room, taking in everything. This was what being rich looked like. This man had a mansion, beautiful things, probably more money than he could ever spend. But why did he look so sad? Why did his house feel so empty? Then Mary saw it. On a small wooden table near the staircase, there was a photo in a beautiful gold frame. The frame was shiny and looked expensive, but the photo inside was a little bit old and faded. Mary stood up slowly and walked closer. Her heart began to beat faster and faster. She picked up the frame with both hands, which were now shaking. The woman in the photo looked younger and much healthier than Mary remembered. She wore a pretty blue dress and was laughing at whoever was taking the picture. Her hair was long and dark, flowing over her shoulders. Her smile was bright and full of joy, the kind of smile Mary hadn't seen on her mother's face in a very long time. But Mary knew that face. She saw it every single day. Even though the woman in the photo looked so different, so happy, so full of life, Mary knew exactly who it was. It was her mother. It was Clara. Mary's hands trembled as she held the frame tighter. Her mind was spinning with questions. Why was her mom's photo in this rich stranger's house? Her mom had never mentioned knowing any rich people. In fact, her mom never talked about her life before Mary was born. Whenever Mary asked about her father or about the old days, Mom would go very quiet. Her eyes would fill with sadness, and she would change the subject quickly. Mary stood frozen, staring at the photograph. Her mind was full of questions that tumbled over each other like waves. How did this man know her mother? Why did he have this picture? And why did her mom look so happy in it, happier than Mary had ever seen her? She heard footsteps behind her and quickly turned around. Marcus had returned carrying a tray with a plate of sandwiches, some cookies, and a tall glass of cold juice. But when he saw what Mary was holding, he stopped dead in his tracks. The tray shook in his hands. His face went completely white, like all the blood had drained out of it. His eyes were locked on the photograph, then moved to Mary's face, then back to the photograph again. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The silence in the big house felt even heavier now. That's my mom, Mary said softly, her voice barely more than a whisper. She held up the frame so he could see it better, even though he was already staring at it. Why is my mom's picture in your house? Marcus's mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked like someone had just told him the most shocking news in the world. The tray in his hand shook even more, and the juice in the glass rippled. He carefully set the tray down on a nearby table, moving very slowly like he was afraid he might fall over. Then he turned back to Mary, his eyes wide with disbelief. Your mother? His voice cracked when he spoke. What's your mother's name? Clara, Mary answered. Her name is Clara. Marcus took a step backward, his hand reaching out to steady himself against the wall. His breathing had become fast and shallow. He looked at Mary's face more carefully now, studying her eyes, her nose, the shape of her face, like he was searching for something. Clara, he repeated, and the way he said her mother's name made it sound like a prayer and a question all at once. Clara. She's your mother? Mary nodded, confused by the man's strange reaction. Why was he acting so weird? And why did he look like he was about to cry? Sir, are you okay? She asked, worried now. Do you know my mom? Marcus ran his hand through his hair, a gesture that showed how upset and confused he was. He walked to the nearest chair and sat down heavily, like his legs couldn't hold him up anymore. Know her, he said quietly, more to himself than to Mary. Yes, I knew her. A long time ago. He looked up at Mary with eyes that were now shining with tears. How old are you? I'm 9, sir. I'll be 10 in 3 months. Marcus closed his eyes and took a deep, shaking breath. His hands were trembling. Mary had never seen a grown man look so shaken before. It scared her a little. Where is your mother now? Marcus asked, opening his eyes again. There was something desperate in his voice. Where is Clara? She's at home, sir, in our apartment. She's very sick. That's why I'm selling oranges. to buy her medicine. Mary's own eyes started to fill with tears as she thought about her mom lying on the thin mattress, coughing and weak. The doctor says she needs medicine that costs $30. I've been trying to save up, but take me to her, Marcus interrupted, standing up suddenly. Please, take me to your mother, right now. Mary stepped back, startled by the urgency in his voice. But I don't understand. Why do you have her picture? How do you know my mom? Marcus looked at the little girl standing before him, clutching the photograph like it was something precious. He could see Clara in her face. The same eyes, the same gentle expression, even the same way she tilted her head when she was confused. His heart was pounding so hard he thought it might break through his chest. Could it be possible? After all these years? Mary, he said, trying to keep his voice steady even though everything inside him was shaking. I need to ask you something very important. Do you have a father? Mary's face fell. It was the question she hated most in the world, the question that made the other kids at school tease her, the question that made her feel different and incomplete. No, sir, she said quietly, looking down at her worn shoes. I don't have a dad. It's just me and Mom. It's always been just me and Mom. Something broke inside Marcus at those words. A sound came from his throat, not quite a sob, but close to it. He covered his face with his hands for a moment, trying to control the emotions that were flooding through him. When he looked up again, his eyes were red and wet with tears. Mary, he said, his voice thick with emotion, I think I might know why your mother never told you about your father, and I think I might know why she had to leave and raise you alone. He paused, struggling with what to say next. But I need to see her. I need to talk to her. There are things that happened a long time ago that need to be explained. Mary was completely confused now. Nothing made sense. Why was this rich stranger crying? Why did he care so much about her mother? And what did he mean about knowing why her mom raised her alone? I don't understand, Mary said, her voice small and frightened. Marcus knelt down so he was at eye level with Mary. Up close, she could see the tears running down his cheeks. This powerful, rich man was crying, really crying, and Mary didn't know what to do. I know you don't understand, Marcus said gently, and I know this is all very confusing and maybe a little scary, but please trust me. I would never hurt you or your mother. I need to see her. I've been looking for her for so many years, and now, his voice broke, now you found me. You've been looking for my mom? Mary asked, her eyes wide. Yes, Marcus whispered. For 10 years, I've been looking for her. Mary's mind was racing. 10 years. She was 9 years old. That meant he'd been looking for her mom since before Mary was even born. Or maybe since right after she was born. A thought started to form in Mary's head. A thought so big and so scary and so impossible that she almost didn't dare think it. But once it was there, she couldn't make it go away. Sir, she said slowly, her voice shaking, why? Why have you been looking for my mom for 10 years? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. He wanted to tell her the truth right then and there. He wanted to say the words that were burning in his heart. But he couldn't. Not yet. Not until he was sure. Not until he had talked to Clara and understood what had happened all those years ago. That's something I need to talk to your mother about first, he said quietly. But Mary, I promise you, whatever happens, everything's going to be okay, better than okay. He stood up and pulled out his wallet again. This time, he took out several bills and handed them to Mary. She looked down and gasped. There were 5 $20 bills in her hand. $100. This is too much, Mary said, trying to give the money back. The oranges only cost $6. Keep it, Marcus said firmly but kindly. Use it for your mother's medicine and for food and for whatever else you both need. He paused, looking at her with such intense emotion that it made her heart skip a beat. And Mary, tell your mother that Marcus wants to see her. Tell her that I know she's alive now. Tell her I'm not angry. Tell her, his voice cracked, tell her I just want to talk. Marcus, Mary repeated, is that your name? Yes? Mary's mind was spinning even faster now. She looked down at the photograph still in her hands. Did you Did you love my mom? Marcus's face crumpled with emotion. A tear rolled down his cheek, and he didn't bother to wipe it away. Yes, he said simply. I loved her more than anything in the world, and I never stopped. Mary didn't know what to say to that. She had so many questions, but suddenly she felt like she needed to get home to her mother. She needed to tell her mom about this strange, wonderful, confusing thing that had just happened. I should go, Mary said. I should go home and tell my mom. Wait, Marcus said. He went to a small desk in the corner and wrote something on a piece of paper. This is my phone number and my address, though you already know where I live now. Tell your mother to call me, or if she won't call, then bring her here. Or, he paused, looking uncertain. Or tell me where you live and I'll come to you. Whatever makes her feel safe. Mary took the paper carefully and folded it. She put it in her pocket along with the money. I live in the old apartments on 7th Street, she said. Building C, room 12. But our place is very small and not nice like this. I don't care about that, Marcus said quickly. I just need to see her. Mary nodded. She set the photograph back down on the table carefully, then picked up her empty bag. Marcus walked her to the door, then stopped. Mary, he said, one more question. Does she ever talk about the past? About anyone she used to know? Mary shook her head. No, sir. Whenever I ask about the old days or about my father, she gets very sad and quiet. She never wants to talk about it. Marcus nodded slowly, his jaw tight. But sometimes, Mary continued, late at night when she thinks I'm asleep, I hear her crying. And sometimes she whispers a name. I think the name is Marcus. Marcus's knees almost gave out. He grabbed the doorframe to steady himself. She says my name? He asked, his voice barely audible. Yes, Mary said. She sounds so sad when she says it, like saying the name hurts her. For a moment, Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Clara had been saying his name all these years. She hadn't forgotten him. Go, he finally managed to say. Go home to your mother. Give her the medicine she needs, and please tell her I need to see her. Mary nodded and stepped out the door. But before she walked away, she turned back one more time. Marcus, she said. Are you my dad? The question hung in the air between them like a delicate glass ornament that might shatter at any moment. Marcus looked at this brave, sweet little girl who had walked into his life selling oranges, and his heart broke and healed at the same time. I don't know for certain yet, he said honestly. But Mary, I think I might be. And if I am, his voice cracked with emotion, if I am, then I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry you had to grow up without a father. I'm sorry your mother had to struggle alone. Because if I had known you existed, nothing in this world could have kept me away. Mary felt tears rolling down her own cheeks now. She didn't fully understand everything that was happening, but she understood enough. She understood that this man had loved her mother. She understood that something had gone wrong a long time ago. And she understood that maybe, just maybe, her prayers for a family were about to be answered. I'll tell my mom, she said. I'll tell her everything. And with that, Mary turned and ran down the path, through the garden and out the gate. She ran all the way home, her heart pounding, the money clutched tight in her hand, and a hope she'd never felt before growing in her chest. Mary ran through the streets, her empty bag bouncing against her side. She didn't feel tired anymore. All she could think about was getting home to her mother. When she reached the old apartment building on 7th Street, she rushed up, the stairs 2 at a time. The building was falling apart, paint peeling off the walls, stairs that creaked with every step, and a smell of dampness that never went away. She reached room 12 and pushed open the door. "Mom!" Mary called out, breathing hard. "Mom, you won't believe what happened." The apartment was just one small room with a tiny bathroom. There was a thin mattress on the floor where they both slept, a small table with 2 chairs, and a hot plate for cooking. The walls were stained and cracked. Clara was lying on the mattress, covered with their only blanket. When she heard Mary's voice, she tried to sit up, but the movement made her cough, a deep, painful cough that shook her whole body. "Mary," Clara said weakly when the coughing stopped, "you're back early. Did something happen?" Mary knelt beside her mother and pulled out the money. "Mom, look. A man bought all my oranges and he gave me this, $100 so we can buy your medicine now." Clara's eyes widened. "What? Mary, that's too much money. Did you—" "No, Mom, I promise. A man gave it to me. A rich man who lives in a huge mansion." Then Mary stopped, remembering the photograph. Her excitement faded. "Mom, the man's name is Marcus." The color drained from Clara's face instantly. She looked like she'd been struck by lightning. Her hand flew to her mouth. "What?" Clara whispered. "What did you say?" "His name is Marcus," Mary repeated. "And Mom, he had your picture in his house. A picture of you when you were younger, smiling in a blue dress." Clara started shaking. She grabbed Mary's arms, her grip surprisingly strong. "Mary, listen to me very carefully. What did you tell him? What did he say to you?" "He didn't hurt me, Mom. He was nice. He cried when I told him you were my mother. He said he's been looking for you for 10 years. Mom, what's going on? How do you know him?" Clara covered her face with her hands. "Oh no, this can't be happening. He found us." "Mom, you're scaring me. Why are you so afraid?" Clara tried to stand but was too weak. She fell back onto the mattress. "Because his family will never let us be together. Because—" She broke down sobbing. "Because I've been hiding you from him for 9 years." Mary sat beside her mother. "Protect us? From what?" Clara looked at her daughter's confused face and realized she couldn't run anymore. She was too sick, too weak, too tired. "Mary," Clara said softly, "I need to tell you something. Marcus is your father." Even though Mary had suspected it, hearing the words out loud made them real. "He's my dad?" Mary whispered. "Really?" "Yes," Clara said, tears flowing. "And I loved him, Mary. I loved him so much. He was kind and gentle and good." "Then why did you leave him? Why didn't you tell him about me?" Clara's face crumpled with pain. "Because I had no choice. Because his mother, your grandmother, she's a powerful, terrible woman who didn't think I was good enough. When she found out I was pregnant with you, she threatened me." "Threatened you? How?" Clara closed her eyes, remembering. "She came to me in the middle of the night with 2 big men. She told me that if I didn't disappear and never contact Marcus again, she would make sure I went to prison. She said she would accuse me of stealing and that she had enough money and power to make sure I was locked away forever." Mary's eyes filled with tears. "That's horrible. She gave me 1,000 and told me to leave the city immediately. I was just 20 years old, pregnant, with no family and no money. I didn't know what to do." "But why didn't you tell Dad? I mean, Marcus, the truth?" "Because I tried," Clara sobbed. "I called him the next day, but his mother answered. She told me that Marcus never wanted to see me again, that he knew I was just after his money. Then she hung up." Clara clutched Mary's hand. "I didn't know if it was true or if she was lying. But I was so young and so scared, so I got on a bus and left. I went to another city and had you there, all alone. Mom," Mary was crying now too, "I told myself I was protecting you, but the truth is, I was a coward. I should have fought harder." Mary threw her arms around her mother. They both cried together. After a long moment, Mary pulled back. "Mom, Marcus didn't know. He didn't know about me. His mother lied to both of you." "I know," Clara whispered. "I realize that now." "Mom, you should have seen his face. When he found out about you, about me, he cried real tears. He said he's been looking for you for 10 years. He said he never stopped loving you." Clara's breath caught. "He said that?" "Yes. And he gave me his phone number. He wants to see you. He said to tell you he's not angry." Clara took the paper with trembling hands. She stared at Marcus's handwriting. "I don't know if I can face him," she whispered. "How can I explain why I kept his daughter from him?" "The same way he's asking you to forgive him for not finding you sooner," Mary said. "Mom, you were scared and you made a mistake. But you did it to protect me. And now, maybe we can finally be a real family." Clara looked at her daughter. "What if his mother tries to hurt us again?" "Then we face her together," Mary said. "You, me, and Dad. As a family." The word Dad made Clara's heart break and heal at the same time. Okay, she said quietly. Tomorrow, when I'm feeling stronger, we'll call him. The next morning, Clara and Mary went downstairs to the payphone. Clara's hands shook as she dialed the number. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then came Marcus's voice. Hello? Clara's breath caught. Marcus, she whispered. It's Clara. Complete silence. Then she heard him take a sharp breath. Clara, he said, his voice filled with so many emotions. Is it really you? Yes, she said, tears rolling down her cheeks. It's me. Where are you? Are you okay? Mary said you were sick. Marcus, please, I'm okay. I needed to call you. I needed to explain. Let me come see you, Marcus said urgently. Please. Clara gave him the address. I'll be there in 20 minutes, Marcus said. Clara, thank you for calling. 20 minutes later, they heard footsteps on the stairs, quick, urgent footsteps. A knock on the door made them both jump. Clara walked to the door and opened it. Marcus stood in the doorway, breathing hard. His hair was messy, his shirt wrinkled, his eyes red. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. 10 years since they had seen each other's faces. Clara, Marcus whispered. Clara started crying. I'm so sorry. Marcus, I'm so sorry for everything. Marcus stepped inside and pulled her into his arms. Clara buried her face in his chest and cried. Shh, Marcus murmured. It's okay. You're here now. It's going to be okay. After a long moment, Clara pulled back. I have so much to explain. I know, Marcus said gently. But first, he looked at Mary. Marcus walked over and knelt in front of her. Hello, Mary. Hi, Mary said shyly. Marcus's eyes filled with tears as he looked at her. He gently touched her cheek. You're so beautiful. I have your nose, Mary said, trying to smile. Mom always said I have a nose that doesn't match my face. Now I know where I got it. Marcus laughed through his tears. I'm sorry about the nose. I like it, Mary said quietly. I like having something from you. That simple statement broke Marcus completely. He pulled Mary into a hug, his shoulders shaking with sobs. I'm sorry I wasn't there, he cried. If I had known you existed, nothing could have kept me away. Mary hugged him back. I know. It's not your fault. Clara told Marcus everything about his mother's threats, the phone call, the years of running and hiding. With each word, Marcus's face grew darker with rage. My mother did this. Yes, Clara said quietly. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm calling her, right now. An hour later, they were at the hospital. Marcus had insisted on taking Clara for proper treatment. Dr. Peterson examined Clara and ran tests. You have a severe respiratory infection, the doctor explained. You'll need to stay in the hospital for at least a week. The cost, Clara began. Is not your concern, Marcus said firmly. Whatever it costs, it doesn't matter. That evening, Marcus brought up something important. Mary, I want to ask you something. Would you be willing to do a DNA test? It's for legal reasons, proof that I'm your father. Will it hurt? Mary asked. Not at all. Then yes, Mary said. I'll do it. 3 days later, Dr. Peterson came in with an envelope. The DNA results are here. Marcus opened it with trembling hands. He read it, then looked up at Mary with the biggest smile. 99.9% match, he read aloud. Mary, you are my daughter. Officially, scientifically, undeniably, my daughter. Mary jumped up and ran to Marcus. He picked her up and spun her around, both laughing and crying. I have a dad, Mary cried. And I have a daughter, Marcus said. The most wonderful daughter in the whole world. But Marcus knew there was still one obstacle. His mother. The next morning, Marcus called her. Mother, I need to see you today. It's important. An hour later, he was at Catherine's house. Marcus, this had better be important, Catherine said coolly. Where were you 10 years ago on March 15th? Marcus asked. Catherine's face showed nothing. That was 10 years ago, Marcus. You remember, Marcus said coldly. Because that was the night Clara disappeared. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Marcus said. Clara told me everything, how you threatened her, how you drove her away. Catherine's fingers tightened around her coffee cup. If this Clara person told you such stories, she's not lying, Marcus shouted. You threatened an innocent pregnant woman. Catherine stood up. She was completely unsuitable, a nobody. She was carrying my child, Marcus roared. Clara was pregnant when you drove her away. I didn't know about my daughter for 9 years because of you. Catherine went pale. What? Her name is Mary. She's 9 years old. She's been living in poverty, selling oranges on the street. My daughter, your granddaughter, living like that because of what you did. Marcus, I didn't know. That doesn't make it better, Marcus said. Clara and Mary are my family now. If you ever threaten them again, I will cut you out of my life completely. Do you understand? Catherine sat down heavily. I want to meet her. My granddaughter. Marcus studied his mother. Why? Because I made a terrible mistake, Catherine said softly. And I want to try to make it right. You'll meet them, Marcus said. But not yet. First, Clara needs to get better. And Mother, if you say one word that hurts either of them, you will never see any of us again. Catherine nodded. I understand. Weeks passed. Clara grew stronger. Mary started at a good school. Marcus had never been happier. Catherine visited once a week, always respectful, trying to make amends. Slowly, the wounds began to heal. 1 month later, they held a small wedding in the mansion's garden. Mary was the flower girl. Even Catherine was there, crying softly. When Marcus and Clara exchanged vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the garden. I've loved you for 10 years, Marcus said, and I'll love you for the rest of my life. You are my home, Clara replied. You and Mary, you always were. They kissed, and Mary cheered, and everyone clapped. That night, Marcus and Clara stood in the garden where they had married. Do you think we'll be happy? Clara asked softly. We already are, Marcus replied. We have each other. We have Mary. We have a second chance. And they were happy. Mary grew up surrounded by love. Marcus and Clara's love only grew stronger. Even Catherine changed, learning that control wasn't love. Years later, Mary would tell her own children, your grandmother was selling oranges and she knocked on a stranger's door. But that stranger wasn't a stranger at all. He was her father, who had been looking for her mother for 10 years. It sounds like a fairy tale, her children would say. It's better than a fairy tale, Mary would agree. Because it's true, and it teaches us that love never gives up. Real love finds a way back home. And in the mansion that had once been cold and empty, the family lived happily, not perfectly, but with love to carry them through. The photograph of young Clara still sat by the staircase, but now beside it was another photo, Marcus, Clara, and Mary together, smiling. A complete family at last.